Welcome to this week's episode of the Author Collaborative. As always, I'll be talking to an author whose book I have recently read and enjoyed. My guest this time is Siddharth Nirwan, and he is appearing on the show for the second time. But unlike last time, he is coming with a non-fiction book this time. On his previous appearance, we had talked about his fiction horror book, and this time we are going to talk about a non-fiction health-related book, which talks about the health of our ears. And it's a very interesting book wherein we have been the readers have been told about the problems related to ears and how our exposure to using earphones can and will cause problems in our ears and the health of our ears basically. And Siddharth is already here. Let me invite him and we can start. Let's see if we can add a few more people to the audience. Hi, Natalie. Thank you for joining. Okay. Siddharth, it says you are unable to join. I'm going to send you a fresh request. Okay. I've sent you another request. Hi, Sukarna. Thank you for joining. Siddharth, I've sent you a new request. See if you can accept now. Yes, I'm well, Natalie. Thank you for asking. Hi, Siddharth. Welcome to the show again. And within a span of less than 6 months, this is a new record for me. Welcome back to the show, I must say, because
Thank you very much.
इतना
It's my pleasure. Yeah, it's my
इतना जल्दी कोई
pleasure.
नहीं आया.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
also goes to show and compliment you on your writing speed, because in a span of 6 months, I have read 2 books of yours, and you have also managed to bring out a new book. So that goes to show your writing prowess also. I was just telling the audience that in the previous episode that you came for, we talked about your horror fiction, and this time we are talking about a completely polar opposite genre of non-fiction related to health. So, firstly, kudos on that. You were managing two ends of a completely different spectrum. So, congratulations on that. And I'm just going to show everyone the book cover of this book, the soundtrack. This is the book that we are going to talk about a lot more. And just, I'm amazed by how you have managed to send across a message in a manner that is such a layperson language. I mean, even those people who are non-medicos, they can understand easily, and you have given a step-by-step guide of what measures to take. What firstly you have explained what are the symptoms, and it is very common that is going to happen because we are exposed to earphones, all of us. We can't avoid it because it's like a necessary evil in today's world. So you you have told us that use तो तुम करने ही वाले हो, तुमको प्रॉब्लम आने का चांसेस तो है ही, might as well give you what you need to do ahead now. So that's what I really liked, and you have used a young person to represent the problem, and you have also mentioned that in this age group the problem is developing now more, which is very worrisome for us because we are in our 30s and 40s and 50s. Those people having such a problem is, not a big threat as much as someone in their teenage facing this problem. So this is what I really liked. It's really eye opening कि इतने young लोगों को हो रहा है, तो मतलब older people में तो बहुत ज़्यादा chances है ये problem होने का. So that's what I really liked. And then you have given some actionables also. Again, without being preachy, and in a way that a lay person or a non-medical person can really follow through those steps and take care of their ear hygiene and ear health. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Manali. Thank you, Manali.
I am just going to read out a few passages from the first chapter itself. Before we do that, here's a look at the cover again. On the cover, you see a young girl who's the protagonist of the story. And through her, we come to know of a lot of problems. And she's consulting this doctor who takes us through the journey of what she's facing, her health problem. And then हमें भी ज्ञान मिलता है कि हमारे साथ भी हो सकता है. So this is the first chapter, and I really like that non-fiction होने के बावजूद there's there's a quirky touch to the entire book, because there are a lot of illustrations in there. See, like this, and then there's this. In the beginning of every chapter, there's a small illustration, which I really liked.
So
There's a
basically,
vibrant energy.
that that was inspired by your book that I read and we discussed, Heartstrings, and so that was filled with, yeah, harmonies. So that was filled with illustrations. I think every that story that is based on
Wow.
the songs. So you have, so that was actually, it's a truly that is inspired from him, from that
Wow,
particular
thank
book.
you.
So when I was
That makes me
writing,
so happy.
yeah, yeah. So when I was writing, I because I knew that there was a danger, there was a risk that this book could turn out to be boring, and as you rightly said, it has been written basically in a story form. It's basically a dialogue between a doctor and a patient. It's a real time dialogue, and there's nothing like outward preaching going on.
Hmm.
The second thing I was skeptical was because it can be a flat, outline book about that. So
Hmm.
I wanted to make it a little bit more interesting for, especially for the new generation. And suddenly I was inspired. I was reminded about your book. So actually, that has been derived it. I'm really regret, I failed to mention this particular acknowledgement in the acknowledgement section. But since you have reminded me, I'm going to add to it very soon because it's on KDP, and I'm the publisher, I'm the producer, and the master of KDP. So I can update. You already know I can update. So very soon I'm going to do it. Right.
Wow, that makes me really happy. And yes, we inspire each other in ways that we are not even aware of, So I'm very happy to hear that. And now, diving into the book, after this first cute illustration in the first chapter, this is how it begins. The chapter is titled A Rainy Day, and this is how it goes. It's been raining since morning. I am sitting idly in my clinic, which is located in my house's basement. Due to waterlogging in the surrounding areas and the inaccessibility of private cabs, I've only seen a few patients today, and thus far they have been the ones living in close proximity. Of course, I've posted a notice on a board outside my clinic that states only routine ENT consultations are available. We do not handle emergencies here. Therefore, a routine ENT patient would prefer to avoid my services rather than take the chance of encountering an unexpected event. Since no patient has arrived in the last hour, I decide to call it a day. As previously mentioned, my house is situated upstairs, and it only takes a flight of stairs for me to escape the confines of my doctor's world and immerse myself in the bustle of family life. I am about to vacate my office chair when I get a phone call. I am reluctant to answer it because I am already halfway out of work mode and planning strategies for how to defeat my 7-year-old in chess. He started playing only 3 months ago and has already become a dominator, at least over me, in that black and white square board game. Anyway, I answer it. A young, nervous, feminine voice echoes from the other side. Hi, doctor. I need to see you. Are you at the clinic right now? I intend to reply that I've already closed, but the degree of apprehension in her voice makes me say otherwise. Yes, I'm still open, but I'm about to leave. Please wait for me, doctor. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Please don't leave. It's really urgent. I want to inquire about the nature of her urgency, but she abruptly ends the call. To kill time, I continue to go through the article I was reading earlier. I hope that she doesn't delay it. I look at my phone to see if her 5 minutes have passed. They haven't. Exactly 4.5 minutes after I receive the call, I hear the sound of footsteps at my clinic's entrance. The sound of heavy breathing follows. Next, I hear a typical rustling sound. It's a usual sound you hear during the monsoon, the folding of an umbrella. So that's how it begins. And the patient and the doctor are about to meet for the first time. The patient is about to reveal something related to her health, which is quite alarming as a reader also, because suddenly in the middle of a very normal day, this girl faces a problem that can happen to anyone. And then the doctor goes on to diagnose what the problem is. And then we come to know that again, there are layers to the unfolding of the symptoms and the diagnosis also, which in itself unfolds like a story. And then there is also, like a warning of sort, and what we can do to prevent this problem. So, uh, while I was reading the book, the one first question, again, while I was reading the first chapter again, also I was reminded of this, that Was it a conscious choice? And this is not a part of question I had planned, but it suddenly came up in my mind while I was reading it. So my first question actually is that while reading it, I was very amazed actually by the level of focus you have put into the sounds in the words. I mean, there's a lot of auditory language in the writing form also, because we are looking at, the sound of the rain, the sound of the umbrella being folded, and all of those things. And this happens throughout the book, I've noticed. You're focused on these things. So was this also a conscious choice because of the genre that you were writing?
Uh, I didn't plan it that way, Manali. I'm not also very much aware about the kind of techniques which are used, like the auditory and the visual techniques. But I think subconsciously, because of my previous experience as a fiction writer, so that comes naturally to me,
Hmm.
because that's what I know best. I know how to tell a story.
Hmm.
I don't know how to write maybe a very good scientific article, although I do write articles. But so that's the way. And as I already told you, I wanted to make it appear like a story, a scene unfolding, not just putting out chapters and giving you directions to do this and do that. So that actually came, that is due to the background of the fiction writing, because I have now published 4 fiction books, completely fiction. I mean, completely different from what this particular book is, as you rightly said.
Hmm.
So that I think came subconsciously. But now you're telling me, so now I'm being reminded upon all those things. Yes, those things are there. The emotions
Yeah.
are there, expressions are there, facial expressions of the girl are there, and what the doctor is thinking. But also, let me tell you that the entire, let's say the physical chemistry that goes between the doctor and the patient, how the patient is reacting. She's very emotional, and the doctor takes care of how to say and what to say. This is
Hmm.
something which actually I practice in my clinic, and most of the doctors do. So this is how we have to be, because medical science and clinical practice is just not you come to me with some particular problem and I'm going to throw some kind of medications and investigations into you. That is just, I think, technical part of practicing medicine is just 10 or 20%. The rest, 80% or 90% is behavioral. I mean, how you behave, how you deal with the patient, how you talk with the patient, how you console them, how you
Yeah, there's a
make them
lot
relax
of
and flexible.
empathy involved in the whole
So
process.
it's something which actually I do every day. So that's what I have tried to put it down in the book. It's
Yeah.
completely like the way I talk. It's completely my house. My basement is in my clinic is in my basement, and my 7-year-old kid, 8-year-old, whatever I mentioned. By the time I was writing, at the time I was writing, he was playing chess. He was learning chess, and this is what the usual typical home and the way I sit in my clinic and it is there.
Okay.
So yeah.
A lot of it is from your personal life itself. I think that also explains how you were able to connect so well with the writing. So my next question actually is that itself. Since this is so heavily medical, what was the challenging part for you, and how did you manage to translate the medical concepts into engaging layperson, very friendly and simple language? And how did you balance the scientific accuracy with readability for a general audience?
Actually, as you rightly mentioned, from the very start, the point was clear. This book is not going to be for medical professionals. This book is also not going to be only for people who are suffering already from hearing loss, because
Hmm.
people who are suffering from hearing loss, they tend to do a lot of research on Google and other things, and they also are a little bit, educated about the terms which are used.
Hmm.
So I knew that I was writing it for a lay person, and so then there was no challenge, but I knew that I didn't want to use any heavy medical terms into it.
Hmm.
I wanted to start it from the base. I mean, how do I make you explain before telling you that the headphones are causing danger? How do I make you explain what is the normal process of hearing and how exactly they are altering that natural process of hearing? So I have to tell you about the ear anatomy. I
Hmm.
have to tell you about the ear
Hmm.
physiology, the physiology of hearing, and now how these machines or devices are actually affecting it. And
Hmm.
because this is something which is happening in real, I'll tell you later the inspiration behind the book, but I'm telling that this is something which is not going to happen. It is already happening.
Happening.
Uh, and with young people specifically, with whom all this thing is happening, it's psychologically devastating. It's just not a hearing problem. It is also a psychological problem. So
Hmm.
this is something. that was thing. And also deliberately, if I wanted, I could have put a lot of facts, because there are already a lot of studies going on worldwide in India, and our institution is also conducting this kind of study, which is basically measuring the effect of personal listening devices. We call them PLDs in scientific term, like your headphones and earphones, whatever. And so there is a lot of heavy scientific data already available out there. But I knew that if I would have put it right in the main text, then it would have become unreadable for a layman. And that's what the deliberate choice. I kept it very, very simple, actually. So even in fact, if any colleague of mine is going to read it, he's going to tell you that you could have made it more, decorative and colorful with a lot of facts, figures, and tables, and whatnot. But deliberately I wanted it to be a short read, not that somebody would like think कि यार ये कहाँ फंस गए, ये क्या पढ़ रहे हैं, हमने तो मेडिसिन ली नहीं थी इसलिए कि पढ़ना नहीं पड़े और हमको पढ़ना पड़ रहा है. So that was the intention. So that was a
Right.
deliberate choice. I wanted to make it as simple and as short as I possibly have put.
Okay. And you have already mentioned that there was an inspiration behind putting this book together. Now let's talk about that. And how did that translate into this book? And what were the kind of challenges you faced while turning that inspiration into this book? And what were the kind of changes you incorporated along the way and later also?
So there were primarily two kind of inspirations, I'll say. And one was personal inspiration, and the second was the general inspiration of me as being a doctor. So the personal inspiration, I'll tell you something. It's a disclosure. It hasn't been mentioned in the book. So this is I'm telling you for the first time. So what used to happen, Manali, is that I used to love running. I still do, although I don't have get a lot of time right now. But I used to once or twice a week. I used to go in a nearby park, or when there was COVID, the streets were empty. So I used to love running, and I used to run easily, like 10 kilometers or 15 kilometers. I've also completed half marathons, couple of them.
Oh,
And most of the runners, if you have noticed, they put these earpods, the hanging kind of them, wireless one. It's a very routine you'll see. So I've done that for almost like 1 or 2 years. And then I realized one day is that my left ear was suddenly one fine day, it started to pain. And being a ENT guy, I understood that it could have been because of that particular earphone that I was using. So after a couple of days, I discontinued it completely because the intensity of the pain grew very much. But even after discontinuing, because now the damage was done because of years of using it. So and the last time I might have used the earphone was like 2 years ago. And even today, even right now, when you're talking to you, I have a level of pain, a constant permanent pain of the level of a degree of, let's say, 2 or 3 out of 10. So that is not gone. So that was my personal inspiration behind it. And the second one was that every day, because where I practice, where my home is, that is a belt. Let's say, for example, in Delhi, there is Mukherjee Nagar, where all the IAS aspirants will do coaching. I mean, if you have seen this film, I don't remember the name, recently came about IAS. So anyway, so the thing is that I also similarly, yeah,
12th fail.
12th fail. So similarly, I live near an area in Jaipur where all the aspirants, not IAS, but all NEET and civil services examinations and all kind of examinations will are there in like 2 to 3 kilometers of my vicinity. So every day, for me, it's an everyday routine to see one or two somebody who is preparing for some kind of examination, because most of the materials, as I mentioned in the book also, is nowadays is mostly audiovisual. Unlike in my days when I was preparing for my pre-medical test, it was mostly attending classroom lectures and classroom coaching, and it was physical books. So nowadays everything is now young generation is not reading physical books at all. For them, it's all lectures are audio or video lectures, and everything is audio visual. So and they are sitting in libraries where you have to maintain silence, and for them it becomes necessary to use these kind of devices like earphones and headphones, because they can't disturb the other people in the library. So every day I'll see one or two, and so this is a routine for me. So I decided that being an author, I'm a doctor, so my job is to basically solve the problem of a patient who comes to treat the patient. But being an author, it is also, I think, my responsibility, since I'm writing a lot of horror. I love writing horror, thrillers, and other things. But I can use that particular skill to create some kind of awareness. And a book was definitely the answer for me, the thing for me, because I'm well versed with it. So rather on, I can't do YouTube videos and go on creating awareness campaigns on the streets. So this is something which comes easy and natural to me. So my author part came into it, and that was it. So that was the origin of the soundtrack.
Okay. How, I mean, yeah, actually, I have to mention a personal experience myself also, because when I started reading your book, I was locally traveling a lot. And over the past at least 2 decades, it has never happened that when I step out of the house, there are no earphones in my ears. It has never happened. Like 95% of the times, it is a possibility that you will find me listening to music in on my earpods or any wireless or wire wala earphones. But after reading your book, whenever I stepped out of the house, I consciously chose not to put the earplugs in my ears because I was very skeptical, and I was, it's like a warning. The book is like a warning that, as much as possible, you should avoid it. So it works. I just wanted to tell you that the book works as a warning.
So that's what the purpose of it is. It's not just a book. I mean, it's the aim and agenda is not to sell a lot of copies or to maybe earn money, which actually you can't earn anyway by selling books, but and to gain a lot of reviews and become famous as being a doctor author. But this definitely, if that thing worked for you, so my point of writing, even if one person understands a little bit and becomes conscious, I'm not telling anybody to stop it because we can't stop it. Even for some purpose, sometimes I have to use, what can I do? But the thing is that you should be conscious about it. You should know that there is a thing about it. Then if you do, it's your choice.
Yes. Like if you do it when you have to, that's a different case. But yeah, that's what I was telling. If you're going out for some leisure activity, and if it is possible to avoid listening to music or putting the earphones in, one must definitely do that. So it works. Okay, that brings me to my next question to you, which I was very curious about. And as an author myself, I was very, keen to ask you this. You have written both fiction and non-fiction now. So, what's your advice to authors and writers who want to do the same, who want to dabble in both the genres? And are there any specific that you feel that one should follow? How can one maintain a consistency and yet stay different while writing these two vastly different genres?
See, Manali, to be very honest, I don't know. I don't think that I'm the right person to give advice to anybody or take a master class about how to write fiction and how to write non-fiction and how to maintain a balance between them. These two genres which I have written till now, that is, first was horror, which came as we discussed earlier in the last session. It comes naturally to me. Even today, I can write a horror story naturally. And the second was, of course, it's my profession. It's what I do. So this is something which comes naturally to me. Now, tomorrow, if you tell me to go and write a historical drama, or let's say you write something about a historical figure, do the researches and all those things. So I have actually tried all those things, but I have successfully failed in a lot of such endeavors and such of non-fiction endeavors. I actually have done like 5 to 6 non-fiction projects I've started and I've given up because that's not something it comes naturally to me. So my only advice is that just don't try to copy and paste. Don't try to follow, like, let's say, what is a trending, and publishers will tell you, and everybody will tell you, oh, this is working, that is working, crime fiction is working, and crime non-fiction is working, true fiction, all that, biographies and all those things, because that's what publishers tell you. But just do something which comes naturally to me. Yeah, obviously, if you want to play it a little bit safe, you can go through that road of writing non-fiction. If you want to be commercially successful, then you have to do, unfortunately. But again, in non-fiction, there are a lot of niches. I mean, there are a lot of areas, right? So select something which you have a little bit knowledge about. Maybe you have an expertise, and I think everybody has an expertise about everything. Okay, let's say there is somebody who wants to write a book about. There is a bookstagrammer. He or she loves to review books and read books. So that is her expertise. It's not that she can't write or he can't write about a non-fiction book. You can write a book about it. You know about the world, right? So you can create a fiction story also in this with this topic, and you can create a non-fiction also. So everybody has got expertise in one particular topic at least. Yeah. Even if you're not working, even if you're like staying at home, but you know something about it, right? Maybe how to deal with your emotions or something, anything, right? So just try to pick up some topic which is very close to you, which is something you're natural to it, and then it will come easily. But if you just try to do and copy and paste, it is going to be damn difficult. So
Yeah.
I have done only thing which is what I do. That is, I practice medicine, and what I love, that is horror. So until now, that has been the case.
Yeah, so basically venture into genres or subgenres that you are well versed with as a as something it's something you are passionate about or something that you are doing in your everyday life, right? So that makes it easier for you to, dabble in multiple genres if you want to. Okay,
Absolutely.
that brings me to the end of my questions that I had for you, Siddharth. You have also read my book. The floor is now yours.
Absolutely. Just give me a second. I'm just going to open it up, and yeah. Okay. So
I
before my laptop battery is going to go away, I'm going to read an excerpt from your book. Okay.
I'm
So
just quickly going
basically,
to show everyone the
yeah,
cover. This is the
it's there,
book,
it's there, it's
Embraces
there,
the
it's
Name.
there,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
it's there,
Thank you so much.
it's
Yes,
there.
that's the book we
Yeah,
are talking about.
yeah. And so this book, just to apprise the viewers what this book is all about. This book, basically, what I felt was because I didn't read much about the blurb or anything, because this is mainly about gratitude, what I understand, right? And it's about gratitude to every, the little things that are around us. Number one. So that was, it struck me the most because you start with that. You start with your clock, with your yogurt, with your glasses, with your keyboard, and who can imagine about COVID vaccine? So that was the first thing. Of course, it's about people, it's about relationships, and but nobody talks about generally about let's say a food blogger or backstabber. And my favorite one was actually in the last, it was very funny also when socials become antisocial. So these social media sites like Facebook and Instagram, basically they're trying to have, they're basically trying to gain attention towards themselves and trying to lay their importance. Why Facebook is telling why I am important and Instagram is telling why I am important. So this book is about gratitude, and I think everybody should practice gratitude in their life, because otherwise life becomes just too much of stressful complaining, and always you're trying to complain about things and about what is happening in the world out there, and about how we are the victims of everybody in this entire world. So it's important that we should stop this victimization, and we should be grateful to people and now little things that are around us. And there are a lot of topics that you have covered, and two important things just I wanted to say is that every letter, I don't know what to call it, letter, poem, or whatever it is, it's your choice. So it starts with the dear. It's the dear COVID vaccine, dear clock, and dear whatever. And it starts and it ends with a very different kind of uh, what do you say, a
Kind of.
tagline, like this,
Yeah.
your reluctant admirer and learner, from someone who looks at you with hope and gratitude. So this is different from every letter, and that is a uniqueness of this particular
Thank you.
book. And I'm going to quickly read because there are a lot of things. Obviously, I can talk about everything, but I think what connects us the most definitely will be books. Always the books, right? And that is
Yes.
what I want to write. Even the COVID vaccine is something which is very funny. And so anyway, I'm going to read from the COVID vaccine, I think, because everybody talks about books, right? So this is going to be a little different, right? So dear COVID vaccine, we've met twice now. I'm sure you don't remember me. With what with you having to protect the world and all. But since I'm in the minority group that I did not think twice before taking you in, I feel we should be on a first name basis now. So let me just begin with a disclaimer. I am an inquisitive soul. So this conversation might feel invasive, but who cares? Your entire being invaded my body, so I win. I had a few questions I had in mind before moving on to my feelings about you. How does it feel to be the most talked about thing on the planet? Even before you came into existence, people were only talking about you. The million-dollar question on everyone's mind since March 2020 was, when will we have a vaccine? That's some serious performance pressure, dude. So a few tips on how to handle it would be awesome. B. Do you feel peer pressure? Sure, the world has been hit by pandemics and life-threatening diseases before, but none as scarring as COVID-19 for sure. It must feel amazing to be the one who tried to bring back normalcy to the world, kind of like how Harry Potter vanquished the Dark Lord. Okay, we are digressing. But surely your peers must be jealous of the limelight that you're receiving in such a short time. They must be sneering when, despite taking your dose, people are falling prey to the virus. I also know for a fact that you're going to waste because Not many people are taking you in. This must be just another reason for your peers to make fun of and scoff at you. How are you handling the pressure? Because I feel it too. When my content falls flat, especially the content I have worked really hard on, and know that it's worthy of much more appreciation than it gets signed. So you get it right. We have already established that we are friends, and they do say a friend in need is a friend indeed. So, dear wise one, do impart some knowledge to this ignorant child. Anywho, moving on to the more or less important part of my letter. I thought I'd just drop in and ask how you are doing amidst all this change world scenario. Despite many people not appreciating and accepting you, know that there are people like me who believe in you. So that was a excerpt from this vaccine. Actually, I'm going to finish it. It's going to just 2 3 lines more. You're a symbol of hope in the darkness that seems to have enveloped humankind inside and out. So stay put and don't give up. Sincerely, a friend. This just feels enforced now, so it'll be nice if you could just say yes or simply give a nod to confirm our status from someone who looks at you with hope and gratitude, but not with fear and distrust. So I'll tell you a little bit. I obviously liked it, but the irony about COVID vaccine was that when it came and people were not receiving it, when they were in the waiting or the queue and they were struggling to get it, everybody wanted it. And then afterwards, when some of the people after this receiving COVID vaccine, a couple of a little bit months or years after, they started to collapse. Then everybody was afraid. Oh my God, I have taken the COVID vaccine. Maybe it's a COVID vaccine that is causing all this problem. Then everybody is afraid. Oh, why have I taken the COVID vaccine? So that was very common. So there was a lot of bad name that came to the COVID vaccine afterwards. That it's quickly developed, and the research was carried out too fast and all those things. So anyway, but at the moment when this vaccine was launched, and so that you actually displayed the actual emotions the way it came. So coming to the questions that I wanted to ask you was, first of all, what inspired you to write this particular book? It is a book of letters, I must say, on gratitude to not only people but everyday things, little things, that I could not have imagined. You'll be writing about a clock, and something like that. So, what was your inspiration about this book?
So, a combination of 2 3 factors led to the culmination of this book. The first reason I think was that I've been writing letters for a long time. Since I was a teenager, I've been writing letters. And then later, when I started my own blog, I used to regularly publish those letters on my blog. A few of them are also a part of this book, but we'll come to that later. That was like the passive part of the making of this book. But the active part of the making of this book started sometime in November 2023 when I had participated in a challenge by Authropod magazine. It's an online magazine and they do regular writing challenges. And in November 2023, they had come up with the challenge of writing letters for every day of the month, for the entire month of November. And they had given us prompts for writing those letters. So a lot of these letters are based on the prompts that we received for that challenge, like write a letter to your father, write a letter to a stranger, write a letter to a friend, write a letter to your childhood friend, write a letter to your friend you are no longer in touch with. So about 30 of these letters are from those prompts, and that's how the active making of this book started. Later, I continued this same challenge as part of another challenge, which is the Block Chatter A to Z challenge, where we have to write for each letter of the English alphabet every day for the month of April. So from A to Z, you have to choose a particular theme or just anything. Having a theme is of course better because you have an idea what you want to write about. But for each letter of the English alphabet, you write something related to that on your blog and publish it every day. So I continued with the same letter writing, and the letters that I could not, right during that part, I had to come up with creatively as part of the different letters of the English alphabet, and that's how the the ones that are quite unique came up, like computer, keyboard, yogurt, vegetables. All those kind of things came up when I was trying to find something coordinating with the that particular letter of the English alphabet. So that's how yogurt came up, because Y se और कुछ सूझ नहीं रहा था. That's how vegetables came up. That's how keyboard came up. That's how COVID-19 vaccine came up. That's how the first act one actually came up. Dear artists came up. That's how I began that particular challenge. So whatever gaps I could fill uh, with that merging of the two challenges, that's how the the different things came up. Most of the people that I have referred to, those were already done as part of the Arthropod letter writing challenge. The other ones related to the things that are around us, those came up as a part of the block chatter A to Z challenge, and that's how the two of them combined together came up to this book. And whatever previous ones that I had, there is one particular letter that I have written to men who are feminists, and that one was written a long time ago. Not really long time, but sometime in 2018 or 19. That was not related to any of these challenges. But I had that letter already published on my blog, and I thought it would be make a good part of this collection itself. So while I was, in the final stages of putting the book together, merging all the poems that I had written over the years as part of these two challenges or on the blog somewhere. So that's how, I went back to my repository on the blog. And, I now we have 50 plus poems on the same genre.
And that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And following that question, I wanted to ask you. So I told you, I told you, it's important to be grateful. But what is your meaning of being grateful, and why I think why you should be grateful to people and the entire world and so on?
So I started actually being grateful. So, like most of the people, 2020 was not an easy year for me. And during that time, it was then that I realized that having the basic things in life is also such a blessing. Like having a roof over your head, having 3 square meals, having a regular income, having a healthy body. These are things we take for granted. And that's how those things were put into perspective once COVID-19 hit all of us. And globally, all of us were in the same situation. That particular virus, it was not looking at your class, caste, or anything else. अगर तुम्हें लग गया तो whether you are rich or whether you're poor or whether you're belonging to this religion or that caste or that subclass, it didn't matter. तुमको हुआ है, तुम it might lead to your death. That was the situation that we were in. It didn't matter who we were. So I started realizing the importance of gratitude during those months when we were in the lockdown. And at that time, I was also in a personal crisis where, my husband was away from me. We were away from one another for 9 months. And we didn't know how and when we would be together again. So at that time, a lot of things were going on in my head. And I was like, chalo, jo situation mein mera control nahi hai, us par to main kuch nahi kar sakti hu. But the things that are under my control, like I can choose what I want to eat. I can choose what I want to do with my time now. So those were the things that made me feel grateful. And after that, it became a regular habit. Since 2021, then I have been maintaining a regular gratitude journal where at the end of each day, I write down one thing that I'm really grateful for. And that's how the practice started. And that led to, probably that was in my subconscious head, and that led to the ideation of this book. Maybe it was not in my conscious mind to convert the practice of gratitude that I was following into a book, but probably that was the subconscious kick that my mind gave me, that probably you should take this one step ahead.
Absolutely, I think the universe conspired to make you write this book.
Yeah.
And definitely, I think yeah. So definitely, and I think I've noticed on your Instagram posts. So I'm actually not very regular on Instagrams. So only once in a while I'll come and I'll leave. But I think you mentioned your posts about writing gratitude journal or something with audio. Also, I've heard about it. Right? I've seen it. Right? So that's wonderful. And I think it's very important for each and every one of us, even if you're not writing a gratitude journal and or maybe in your case a book, but at least waking up every day and just thinking of one thing, that we are having what the other person or the people around us are not having. Maybe it's money, maybe it's health, maybe it's people around us, or maybe it's our job, maybe it's our ability to read good books, the
Yes.
company of good books, good people, good friends, good food.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my favorites. And so I think it's very important. But because if you do it every day, first thing in the morning, then your entire day goes okay. Because anyway, the day in the day, a lot of things are going to hit you,
Yes.
emotionally, mentally, and physically also. The day is prepared to hit you, right?
Yeah.
Every day. So I think every day you should also practice in the beginning. So that's something I think it is very very commendable. Well, not only the habit that you're following, but now you're translated into a book. And I hope that there is a part two of it, because there is no end. If
Yeah.
we start thinking, there is no end to things
Yes.
about which we can be grateful. So that's from my side.
Exactly. Yes. So that brings me to my favorite part, which is the rapid fire round. How we'll do this, Siddharth, is we'll do back and forth. One question I ask, one question you ask. Okay?
All right. Sure, sure.
Okay. So I'll start off. My first question to you is uh, tell us about the sections that you had to cut or rewrite heavily during the editing process for this particular book.
Again, as I said, I mean, it was not that I had to cut or rewrite, but I think there were a lot of topics which I thought that I could have included a lot of topics more. A lot of chapters could have come in,
Mhm.
but I didn't wanted to make it again a lengthy book. I
Hmm.
think I'll tell you about a couple of topics which I think I might update in future.
Hmm.
First is the importance of the same thing. What my story was, I was a runner and I was using it. So tips
Hmm.
and practical advices for the runners. So they could have been characters like that. Maybe they would come because in Kindle you can do. And what is the importance of yoga in anybody who's having hearing loss? So that's actually something which is coming up. And I'm also doing a lot of I'm studying about it so that I can advise my patients about it, because a lot of them are actually doing. Some of the people who are in the middle age and the old age actually are doing some kind of everyday yoga
Oh,
or
okay.
pranayam, something like that. So that's something I think there are a lot of things to be covered. One thing I think what was very close to me was the final chapter. It is a very small chapter.
Hmm.
You be a parent, but it's something that every parent should be be aware
Hmm.
about, because unfortunately even parents are not aware about this thing, right?
Hmm.
Right, for example, the screen time, how much mobile or screen we should allow our kids. Similarly, parents are not aware about headphones and earphones. So there
Yes.
was a short topic, and it came in the last moment. I think I thought that after writing the book, I'm missing something. But I
Hmm.
think this is something which is very important for a parent, because how you as a parent tell your kid who is already using it, in this case, in this chapter, what is there?
Hmm.
Because his two kids are using it. One of them is a teenager, and one of them is about to become a teenager. How do you deal with them? How do you explain them? Because if you tell your teenage child not to use it, then the exactly opposite is going to
Yeah.
happen.
Rebel.
So
Yeah.
nothing much
Yes.
challenges, I'll say. I enjoyed it reading, but yeah. So there are a lot of
Okay.
things which I are going to be added to this book in the near future. Hmm.
Okay. Lovely.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Your turn.
Yeah. Actually, you already answered my first question. I wanted to ask you, how much time did you take to write it? Because, and then you answered that, it started before COVID and these things. I wanted to ask you, if I may rephrase this question, is that how much time? Because now you've written a lot of books, and I have read two of them. I'm going to read further more. That how much time do you devote to, if you have to write this book from scratch, let's say,
Hmm.
or the earlier book which I have read, how much
Hmm.
time you think is necessary? This is a very, again, a very, a general kind of a
Subjective
question for an
feeling. Yeah.
aspiring author. How much time? Because some people say that you should take a year or two. Some people say there are some people, authors who are writing books in 1 month or
Hmm.
2 months. Or what is the average time you devote to a book?
Wow. The quickest I have written a book is has been 3 months, and the longest I have taken is probably a decade, because the first book that I wrote had poems that I began writing as a teenager. I mean, it was not a conscious effort that एक 10 साल लग गए उसको book को बनाने में. It was a subconscious thing. I was writing poetry, and I didn't know at that time when I was writing those poems that they are ultimately going to become a part of a poetry book. So I would say that the debut book took me the longest, because The oldest poem in that would be around something I had written when I was 16, 17, I think. और फिर वो publish हुई when I was in my late 20s. So a decade or more. So you can never say. It's very subjective. It all depends on the genre. It depends on your motivation to write. If you're writing regularly, putting in effort regularly, I think you can write a book, an amazing book within 2 months also. But if you want to put in effort, research, genre kya hai, are there more people besides you involved in the process of the writing, then it's, again, the time varies. But yeah, the shortest for me has been 3 months.
Okay. So just to apprise
Okay.
you, the soundtrack was written in a month.
Yeah.
Because I was, flooded with this topic. I wanted to do it since so long. And when it came to me, so there was this particular time when I had a lot of time. That is very rare for me. So this one particular month, I was relatively free. So I just started in and completed in 1 month. Because again, it's my expertise. I'll say about a couple of things I can say. It is my expertise, loud and clear.
Yeah.
So that I wrote in 1 month. Yeah. So it's now your turn. I believe.
Amazing. Okay, so my next question is specific to this particular book. One worst headphone habit that people have, and one myth about hearing you wish people would stop believing.
Okay. Now I'll try to be a little bit quick because this is rapid fire. So I think one worst headphone habit what people have is that I give a very maybe different or very specific answer. So don't go over my physique, but I do go to gym every day. Maybe I just spend 20 or 25 minutes. But I think many people, you just plug in the headphones, and with the headphones only, they are able to do some kind of exercise. They think that it's very important, both males and females. So again, in gym is one place where this headphone culture is very prevalent, and that's why. And people think that until unless they get this kind of a motivation. That was the same case with me. I used to get motivation with a headphone, and then only I thought that I could run for long distances, right? For 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers. But I started running. Without using the headphones for the past 2 years. And I think it's something same. So you don't need these devices or loud music or motivational music, what you say, to be motivated every day to do your kind of exercises or running or whatever you feel like, right? So you can try for a couple of days, maybe not doing them and not using them. And very soon you'll find out that you don't need them actually. So that was the habit. And if you're talking about one myth about hearing, you wish people would stop believing. I don't know. There is no myth. I'm not aware about myths actually. You can tell me if there is some myth. What people should stop believing. Are you aware about any myth that goes?
Not a myth particularly, but I do feel that most of the smart devices that we have these days, they do give you warnings that you have been using the headphones for a long time. It's you should give your
I mentioned about the technology what people actually are unaware, which is available right now. Surprisingly, when I was writing this book, I was not aware about the use of the apps which are already available right now, which can tell you about, like, for example, your screen time, about your hearing time, and the way the hearing, all these personal devices are going to transform with the incorporation of AI. So AI is basically going to tell you that, boss, you have too much, aaj ka ho gaya, ab band karo. Okay? Or that you are listening at a very loud level that is not required, or it will automatically stop you, or it is going to make you listen to a particular frequencies what your ear is comfortable with already. So there are a lot of frequencies at which we hear, right? So what we are talking about is the speech frequency that goes from 5,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 hertz, right? So there are frequencies louder than that and frequencies lower than that, right? So there's a lot of technology which is already available, and the AI is going to play a very, very major role in changing these devices, because there is a lot of awareness which is now coming in. Like, for example, in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, there was no awareness about cigarette smoking. People used to smoke right and left. People used to promote. A lot of celebrities used to do. Surprisingly, you'll not believe it. There was this brand of cigarette called Camel, and in US, who were the brand ambassadors of Camel cigarette? Can you take a wild guess? Doctors. There are still video available. You can go to YouTube right now and you can type old Camel ads featuring doctors, something like that. you know, with these keywords. So this doctor ad is still available. Now, when it
Oh.
became eminent, it became to be known about that the cigarette smoking basically causes cancer and all these things problems. So now there is a statutory warning on the cigarette
Hmm.
packet that it is injurious to health. And now there are a lot of figures also,
Hmm.
diagrams also, right?
Hmm.
I believe that in future, with a lot of studies and all these things, these kind of advisories are going to come on your headphone packets, and companies have to be really responsible about using technologies. Not only noise cancellation, but a lot of other technologies have to come. They have to integrate these things, right? Because once hearing loss starts, the problem is that Manali, is that the kind of hearing loss that happens after using these headphones or any other kind of devices is that it's a irreversible hearing loss. You can't
Hmm.
do anything about it, right? Because it acts on the, I've told in the book, it acts on a neural
Yeah.
level. It affects your nerves. You can't do anything about it, right?
Yeah.
So the only thing what you can do is that that today if you're using headphones or earphones, tomorrow you have to use hearing aids.
Hmm.
So be prepared for it. So that's it.
Yes. Okay. Your turn.
Just a minute. Because
Yes.
I prepared a couple of questions, and I'm going to ask you because my laptop has gone off, right? But I've taken a backup on my phone. Okay, so what are
Okay.
the books that you have written till now? Which book has been, and just now this time you can just not maybe go into detail, but you can just answer about the book which has
Hmm.
been the most personal book, personal to you. Second, which has been the most challenging and the most fulfilling. After you written, you felt very fulfilled. You can take your time because I know it's a very hard question. Most personal.
Most personal was definitely Embraces in Ink because it's more or less a journal. And I've talked about a lot of personal experiences also. Despite, making it as relatable as possible, it's a personal book. Most challenging. I think the most challenging would be Heartstrings and Harmonies because finding the correct song and lyrics to go with each
Mm.
story was a challenge in itself. Most fulfilling, I would say, it would be a tie between the two novels that I have written because writing a novel was something that I have been wanting to do for a long time. There was lack of motivation, there was lack of self belief, but once I wrote the two books and they were very well received, I felt very fulfilled as an author. So yeah.
Okay, your turn
Oh,
now.
yes, my next question to you is: if you could make one headphone related change to the world, what would it be?
Uh, what it would be, I think I would ban the use of these earpods specifically that go into your ear,
Hmm.
right? Because even if you put a lot of technology into it, even if you if you listen at a very low volume, what I mentioned about the 60-60 rule, let's say, by nature, these are altering your ear anatomy. It may be
Hmm.
that you don't suffer from hearing loss, but what I suffered from, I'm suffering from the earache. That is bound
Hmm.
to happen because the nerve supply of the ear canal is very sensitive, very fragile. Once it gets irritated, it's going to trouble
Hmm.
you for maybe a lifetime. I'm suffering
Hmm.
from it actually. So as a patient, I'm telling you about it. So best, as I mentioned in my book, but I think the better alternative is to use over the ear headphones. Those kind of headphones, even if
Yeah,
you have
the
to
bigger
use it,
ones. Yeah.
not the one that goes inside. I
Mhm.
am actually so much so, pissed off with them that I can actually ban them if you give me a power.
Okay.
It's like alcohol in Gujarat. So I
Yeah.
can ban the use of earphones in the world.
Okay. Your turn.
Yeah, just a minute. Huh. So just to apprise the viewers, your readers, what is your currently working upon?
Currently, I am actively working on my third novel, which is part of the series. And I've written two books already in the series, and this is going to be the last and final one. So that is actively there. But I am also working on a separate thing, and I'm hoping that it will come out this year, which is another non-fiction book. Uh, I'm going to do non-fiction for the first time, so I'm very excited about that, and I'm hoping that it goes as I have imagined in my head. So that's that. Okay.
Okay. So next question is that before reading this book, Soundtrap, were you aware about all these things what I mentioned in the book? Yeah? These things actually, because all of them are truths.
No,
There's no fiction in the book. There is no fiction in the book. So were you aware
no,
that
I mean,
it's actually causing problem in young people to that extent?
no. I knew that, exposure to music at such levels or sound at such levels and keeping the earphones plugged in for a long time has a long term effect. Permanent damage is possible. I was aware of that. But I was shocked by how it is affecting the younger generation also. Because as I was mentioning earlier also, मुझे हमेशा लगता था कि 40s 50s 60s वाले लोगों को प्रॉब्लम होगी, not somebody in their teenage or 20s. So yeah, that was like an eye opener for me, that if people this young are getting affected, the older generation will be more affected because their ears have already aged so much more.
So, but
So
fortunately, I'll tell you practically, the older generation is not getting affected because they are in the first place also they are not very comfortable with the earphones and headphones.
mm,
So more than 90 to 95% of them they don't use earphones, especially the earbuds that go inside. So automatically, naturally, they are not suffering from these kind of problems. They are definitely suffering from age-associated hearing loss that
mm,
happens after aging, but that comes very later on. Let's say in the maybe 60s, 70s, or maybe 50s. But the major burden of hearing loss is actually nowadays and is going to fall in the coming years on the younger generation. And that's going to be horrendous. I mentioned all those things in a book. There is just not a hearing health that is affected, but it's a psychological
yes,
health that is affected because then you become cut off from your peers, your friends, and everybody starting to avoid you.
yes.
And so that's what's the intent about creating this book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's now your turn.
Okay. So this is going to be specific to my book now. If you could send one letter from Embraces to someone in real life, which letter would it be? Who would you send it to and why?
The answer is very simple. I think I'll send Dear Teenager and I'll send it to my son who is a teenager.
Oh,
Because what you rightly mentioned in the book, I wanted to tell it to myself, but now that's not possible. But there is another human being, my teenager, so that I can share. Yeah.
okay, lovely. And
Mhm.
my last question to you is, if Embraces in ink were a sound, what would it be?
See, my favorite sound that actually relaxes me and suits me, and you've written a letter about it also, is rain, the sound of rain. So you've written this thing is also there. So always it will be the sound of rain or maybe a flowing water, like let's say a
Hmm.
river. So for me, I don't know how it fits. Maybe with the title of the book, I don't know. But if you're asking me about one sound particular, that will be either the rain or river flowing or
Wow.
anything to do with water. So that's something which relaxes me. So
Yeah.
that is it. And my last question to you is that tell me, Manali, that for how many hours do you use headphones?
For the past 2 days, I have not 0 hours because after reading your book, I already mentioned to you that I was consciously avoiding putting the earplugs in my ears. क्या जरूरत है? I can hear it on the loudspeaker also. Might as well put it on the my speaker or on the TV. कान में लगाने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. So that's what I did. But before that, yeah, at least 45 minutes every day during my daily walks. That was happening. But I over the past 2 3 days I've been avoiding it.
What
So
I
yeah.
realized about walks and running and all those things, what many people they do in the morning and while doing jogging in the parks. So, but what I realized is that when you're listening to this music or any favorite song of yours, you're actually missing out on the real,
Sounds of nature.
surrounding,
Yeah. Yeah.
the actual surrounding that is near you. The sounds, which a lot of sounds are produced in a park. That's amazing. And I was
Hmm.
able to hear those sounds for the first time after I discontinued using earphones. There'll be birds, there'll be trees, there'll be some kind of vehicles, there'll be people. A lot of people will be talking different things, right?
Hmm.
Uncles and aunties will be talking their own things, and children will be
Yeah.
talking their own things. Some gossip will be going around. People,
Yeah.
a lot of talks will be going on. Intelligent talks like about politics and about a lot of things will be going around. So that's amazing. Just stop using them if you are going out for a walk and just appreciate the sound that is around you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah. You
Mm.
managed to inculcate that change in me also. So I'm hoping
Mhm.
to continue that for a long period now, not just 2 3 days. Let's see how far I am able to follow through with it. Okay, so Siddharth, since you've read Embraces and this season is focused on that particular book and the feeling of gratitude, I have introduced a new segment which is called the Gratitude Bingo. I will be asking you a bunch of questions related to gratitude, and you simply need to answer in yes or no. And I'm now just pulling up the bingo. Till then, just want to thank everyone. We have been getting a lot of hearts in between, so I want to thank everyone who has joined us and kept sending us the hearts. Thanks for staying with us, guys. Hope you are enjoying the conversation. And yes, we have the gratitude bingo here. The first question is you have to answer in yes or no. The first question: did a random act of kindness? Did you do a random act of kindness? Like,
Yes, yes.
yeah. Okay. Lovely.
Just I'm
Next
going to
question.
say yes, not
Yeah.
deliberately. No. Yeah.
Okay. Next one. Paid gratitude to an object.
What?
Paid gratitude to an object.
Yes. Can I just extend it?
Yes, of course, please.
I always pray, say gratitude to that once a week my favorite drink that you can imagine that because of it it keeps me sane. Yeah, right. 2 glasses of it.
Okay.
Yeah, and now you can imagine, right?
Great. Okay, next one. Wrote a gratitude letter.
Unfortunately, not. Never. No.
Okay. Okay. Next one. Said sorry to someone in the last 24 hours.
No. Because
Okay.
I didn't
Oh,
commit any mistake in the last 24 hours. Maybe prior to that, yeah, but not maybe in the
okay.
last 24 hours.
Okay. Next one. Said thank you to someone in the last 24 hours.
Uh, uh, I said thank you to myself, right? Because
Yeah, that's good.
there was some things which were troubling me, and then I said that I kept myself sane in those conditions. So thank you to you. There is a very famous video by Snoop Dogg. You know Snoop Dogg, and he
Yeah.
goes and he's like on like he's winning an award, and he's saying, "I want to thank me," right? I want to thank all the people, but I want to thank me first. So I want to thank me first.
Lovely. Okay, next one. Hugged someone in the last 24 hours.
Not actively, but passively. People get hurt that I don't know, but not to the best of my knowledge. Yeah.
Okay. No, no, not hurt. Hugged someone. Jadoo ki jhappi.
So Jadoo ki chappi. But yeah, my kid is there, little one, 7 to 8 years old. So
Hmm.
that's somebody I keep on hugging, partially or completely,
Okay.
on and off.
Okay. Lovely. Next one. Said something nice or paid a compliment to someone in the last 24 hours.
I think, yeah, to
Okay.
my little one, I think he did some kind of drawing or painting, and I said, yeah, that's wonderful.
Okay. Great. Next one. Forgave someone who hurt you.
Nowadays, I don't get hurt because nowadays I'm used to the world. The world is about, either subconsciously you are hurting people or people are hurting you or situation hurting you, and I've stopped being a victim. So
Hmm.
nowadays I don't even get hurt by people because that's how life is. Life is all like that. It's unpredictable, and you can't uh, predict how people are feeling about you. So I
Hmm.
stopped. You know, I'm no longer being hurt by anybody. Mostly,
Okay.
at least 90% of the times. Yeah. So I don't even
Okay.
think in that direction.
Okay. Lovely.
Hmm.
Next one. Helped someone without any motive or expectations.
I can say that, yeah, because I work in a medical college hospital, so there are residents and juniors
Hmm.
under us, so we often teach them, the steps of the surgery. I don't know if it counts or not, but
Hmm.
obviously, as being a teacher, I mean that's a part of my work. But I love teaching, and I love teaching them, especially surgery, because surgery is something very very highly skilled. I think it's the most one of
Yeah.
the most skilled things in the world. So I'm not getting anything like materialistic or personal out of teaching my students, right?
Hmm.
Nobody's paying me extra money or any extra compliments, right? So, but there's something I love, teaching specifically surgical steps because that only somebody can hold your hand and teach you. You can't learn a surgery by watching YouTube videos or reading books, or maybe one day you thought that you're going to cut a patient like that and you're going to suture back the patient like that. No, somebody has to be their mentor who's going to selflessly teach you, and that's how we learn.
Yes.
Anybody is operating upon, let's say, your loved one or somebody so that person has been mentored over years, and selflessly, and then only he's in that position. The best of the best surgeons have the best of the best mentors. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Okay. Next one. Gave someone a shout out in the last 24 hours.
Uh, Shout out. If putting the Amazon review of your book counts as a shout out, that then it can be.
It does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So
Okay.
then that should see. Mhm.
Okay. Next one. Listen to someone with empathy and without judgment.
I don't judge people nowadays, because now I understand that people, how what they say, or if they are angry or if they are frustrated, it's because of the conditioning that they have. By nature, I think everybody's pure, everybody is a peaceful person. But if there are people, because every day, in professional life and personal life, I'm surrounded by a lot of people. So there are a lot of people will be behaving in a very, very varied ways. And earlier I used to get affected by it. But nowadays I understood that, I am also behaving because because of a lot of conditions, because a lot of things that have happened in my life, because of situations. Inherently, if sometimes, let's say, I become angry, which sometimes I do, then it is due to the effect of some situation or conditioning or something that is happening in my mind. But
Yeah.
inherently, I'm a peaceful guy. So that's it. I'm not bothered about nowadays. That's what.
Lovely. Okay. Next one. Spend quiet time alone outside.
I do. Every day when I'm going to my workplace, so my new workplace is like 16 kilometers from my home. So it takes like 45 minutes to reach there. And most of the times I'll be playing a podcast, or let's say something like that, or maybe a learning video. But then half of the time, let's say 45 minutes sometimes, I'll be coming with only myself and my thoughts.
Okay.
So that will be the quiet time I'll have, 40 to 45 minutes almost minimum every day. I'll not put it any video back then, and I'll be talking. And mostly, I don't know if people consider it as a psychological abnormality or so, but in my car when I'm coming, I'm most of the times I'm actually talking to myself, but like say hi. Or sometimes I'm doing these kind of interviews. I'm interviewing people, or somebody's interviewing you. So I don't know, subconsciously it goes on, because I love actually these kind of programs. Talking about books and talking about these things. So in my car I'm with myself, and most of the times I'm talking to myself. Maybe outside is something that ye banda has gone a little psycho. I don't know.
Okay, next one. Did not complain a whole day.
I stopped complaining nowadays. It would come. Naturally, it would come. No, naturally it would come. There's something like wow, but naturally it will come. Every day, for like every after some time, this thing would come. Complaining would come, right? Nature would come. But then I will tell, yeah, it is not let this complaining nature overpower me, right? So there are a lot of things to complain about, right? Globally also, what is happening internationally, nationally, in your state, in your society, in your work, at your home, or in your mind, there is 100 reasons every day to complain about. And your mind will actually complain, right? This is. But then you'll say, "Ha, theek hai." So, there is no point in complaining about things what you can't change, right?
Yes. Okay. Next one. Wrote 3 things you like about yourself.
I haven't written, but I like a lot of things about me.
But I mean, mentally you thought कि हाँ मैं ये 3 चीजें बहुत अच्छी करता हूँ. That also counts.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. Wrote 3 things you like about your parents.
Again, not written, but obviously you're always grateful to your parent. Subconsciously. I mean, you not express with people around you, but yeah, you are always grateful, obviously.
Okay, next one. Wrote 3 things you like about someone you envy.
I stopped again. I'm telling you, maybe I'm speaking like a very, very mature person, but that what, when you become you start to envy people, complain, feel angry, uh, start judging people, or getting affected, all of the things that you just mentioned, for a really long period of time and long number of years, no, then something hits you, and then you become a little passive to all of these things, right?
Hmm.
Not completely, but let's say 90%. So
Yeah.
10% I'm still very active, but maybe 90% of times, maybe that's
Okay.
what graying of the hair does to you.
Probably, yes.
Mm.
Okay, next one. Wrote three things you like about a friend or a colleague.
See, I'll tell you very honestly, I don't think that I have like the kind of friends people portray, best friend forever and all those things. So I don't think I have currently, right? But yeah, I
Okay.
have a lot of
Okay.
good relationship with my colleagues. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
always there. Yeah,
Lovely. Okay. Next one. Helped, mentored, or shared knowledge with someone, which I'm sure it's a part of your profession, so it's
that's a
happening
part
every
of
day.
that's a part of my profession.
Yes. Okay. Next one. Watch the sunset in the past month.
Yeah, many times,
Great.
many times,
Okay. Next one. Observed and appreciated nature and its elements.
every day,
Great. Okay. Next one. Sat in the sunlight in the past week.
every day.
Hmm. Awesome. Next one. Made someone laugh or smile in the past 24 hours.
I try every day, but I don't know if I succeed. Sometimes I feel sometimes.
Okay. Well, intent is also important. Whether it's getting delivered or not, it's up to that person, right? Okay.
I'll just take a pause as I'm receiving a very important call from the hospital.
Okay.
Just take a pause,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure. Do stay connected. Siddharth has got an important call, so he's gone off for a while. He'll be back in a while, and we only have a few more questions to wrap up the gratitude bingo. So do stay connected. And thank you for staying with us so far. Yes, Siddharth is back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
only
Sorry for
have
the disruption, but sometimes we have to
yeah,
attend
yeah,
calls.
yes, yes, and I understand. We only have a few more questions remaining in
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
the
Sure.
next
Sure.
one is turned or looked at a negative situation in a positive manner.
Nowadays, I try to look at every
Okay,
negative situation. Hmm.
great. Okay. Did something this month that you have been wanting to do for a long time.
Yes. May I not elaborate, but yes, something I did.
Okay,
Maybe I wanted to do for a long time.
o- okay, okay, great. And the last one, took ownership or responsibility for your mistake.
Nowadays, I am doing it.
काफी
Earlier, I didn't
changes
used
आ
to.
रहे हैं. Yes, yes.
That's what I've been growing up here. It just produces something.
Yes. Okay. So you did very well on the gratitude bingo. So congratulations. I think you not only did the cross one, but you also covered the columns. सिर्फ columns नहीं, rows भी cover हुए हैं काफी. So well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And that brings us to the end of the gratitude bingo and also to the end of this episode. And before I let you off, I have to ask you, because you have been a repeat guest now, so I'm expecting you to come again. When are you putting up the next book so we can do this again soon?
Hopefully, it will be maybe I can't say, but maybe June, July.
Okay.
It'll be something a continuation of this particular theme, and it's like first draft done 80%, but that was like done 4 months ago, and then I have to like complete it,
Okay.
take out some time.
Okay.
So that will be if this book was non-fiction, that will be to do something with the topic, almost, but it will be completely fictional book. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. So,
Yeah.
a continuation of this but in a different genre. That would be
Very
interesting.
different, totally different. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Looking forward to that. And sometime in June or July, it's coming out.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. So probably if not July, we'll do this in August again.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to hosting you again. Thank you for being a guest and always a pleasure to have you. Bye. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Malai. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yes.